Well, this is really unexpected, and I think objectively probably one of the funniest things I've seen on the planet. So I've been constantly saying this before, but one of the biggest reasons why Kamala Harris, well, I would say got owned in her campaign, why she had a really, really bad campaign despite her relatively good start in it pre DNC, was because of Joe Biden. Joe Biden's ego getting in the way of, Kamala Harris being able to run a successful fucking campaign. And I think that is a big part for as to the reasoning as to why, the campaign ended up being as big of a disaster as it was, I think, for like lack of a better term. Let's just go with as big of a disaster it ended up being. But it's insane. Her campaign memoir, which was called 107 Days, because that's how long her campaign lasted, which basically talks about a lot of the fucking bullshit that Joe Biden pulled within the fucking back. So this is really, really funny because I've been saying this before. Joe Biden is rather similar to Trump in a lot of aspects in terms of ego, in terms of basically thinking that he was him because of the fact that, oh, well, Jack, I didn't get owned in the midterm, so therefore I must be really, really popular. It's just like, no, Joe. No, that's not how that works, Joe. You're not actually that popular. Trust me. The Republicans were just running a really, really bad campaign strategy during the midterms in 2022 because they thought they had that shit in the bag. Like, it should have been more of a blowout, but not really. They ran such a terrible, abysmal campaign strategy to try to reclaim the House, and they should have gotten more seats, but they got like nothing because all they did with that they did during 2022 was just like hand-wring about trans people, which is just like why are you doing that? That's extremely fucking stupid. But whatever. And now we're also starting to learn about the extent to how Joe Biden was, well, basically a detriment, to be honest, to Kamala Harris, right? We know that basically Kamala Harris was appointed to be the border czar, quote unquote, but it's for basically for the express purpose of just, well, like unironically, just have her be there just as like a pretty face and just like actively snub her. Like for Joe Biden, it was all about ego in the end, and I think he honestly is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, reasons for as to, well, why Kamala Harris was as big of a failure in terms of a campaigner as possible. Now, obviously, we can't go without remiss without mentioning how, well, Kamala, what you should have done was snub Joe Biden, call him a stupid dumbass, say fuck him. Like, this is what he's doing, how he's making my campaign like 10 times more fucking difficult, and just like bring this all out to light. Like, bring it up all out to light now. A little late, bud. Like, you could have done this like way earlier, but whatever. I guess better late than never in this particular respect. But generally speaking, yeah, like he put her to the sideline. Any suggestion that she said, like, he just didn't pay attention to it. He was the one who wanted to run the show, and like for whatever reason thought he could like run for a second time despite the fact that his brain was like leaking out of his ears. It's genuinely insane. And of all the people I was in the worst position to make the case that he should drop out. I knew it would come off to him as incredibly self-serving if I advised him not to run. He would see it as naked ambition, perhaps as poisonous disloyalty. Even if my only message was don't let the other guy win. Right? It's actually genuinely insane. The fucking ego that's on display from Joe fucking Biden is crazy. It's Joe and Jill's decision. We all said that like a mantra, as if we'd all been hypnotized. Was it grace or was it recklessness? In retrospect, I think it was recklessness. The stakes were simply too high. Thanks, Kamala. This wasn't a choice. It should have been left to an individual's ego, an individual's ambition. It should have been more of a than a person. It should have been more than a personal decision. It literally took, I think, like literally everyone in the Democratic apparatus to make Joe Biden fucking drop out. That's just how fucking ego-driven he was. He thought it was his time. He wanted his two fucking termies for himself, and it's just like, bro, what the fuck, man? You're just literally going to throw away everything. Like, okay. Honestly, nah, I don't think it's thanks Kamala is the new thanks Obama. I disagree. I say thanks Joe, because really, like I said before, Kamala Harris probably was in a bit of a bind to try to call this out because, again, I've said this before, but a lot of her campaign infrastructure was Biden's campaign infrastructure because of the fact that Biden decided to throw under the bus because he thought that Kamala Harris was the main person that was snubbing her, basically telling him to, Joe, you should really not run again. You're too fucking old, man. Like, just stop. Don't fucking do it. And it's not going to work, man. It's not going to work. And everyone's saying that it's not going to work. You are seemingly the only one with, like, your circle of sycophants thinking that you're the only one who's him and that can beat Trump when in reality you are not him. Trust me, you're not. Please don't do this, Joe. This is a really, really fucking bad idea. And, well, she couldn't really do anything to push back against that. Now, maybe she could have tried to leak this anonymously through someone to at least give the American people some kind of an idea. Like, she probably should have done that. And I think that probably would have been a good thing to do. But it's just like, because of the fact that Joe Biden's infrastructure was the main infrastructure
That's a bunch of malarkey.
That is a bunch of malarkey. Considering the fact that his infrastructure was the main sort of structure that she had to use in order to be able to campaign, because again, Biden basically threw her under the bus, said like, hey, you're not going to have any time to fucking campaign, build infrastructure for a campaign, blah, 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 blah. So she was forced to have to use his, so she can't be perceived as disloyal to Joe Biden, because she were, she loses that infrastructure. Like, what does she do? She's not going to be able to properly campaign if she doesn't have that Biden DNC backed like infrastructure. Like, what is she going to do? Like, build it up from the ground up in about 100 fucking days? I highly doubt that. Like, there's no way. I was well aware of my delicate status. Lore has it that even outgoing chief of staff always tells the incoming president of chief of staff number one rule: watch the VP, because I'd gone after him over busing in the 2019 primary debate. Wait, really? Fucking Joe Biden's chief of staff really brought up that point? I mean, it was an accurate point that Kamala Harris brought up. Like, it was accurate. Joe Biden is a fucking racist. Period. End of story. It's incredible, dude. I came into the White House with what we lawyers call a reputable presumption. I had to prove my loyalty time and time again. That's fucking incredible, bro. It's fucking insane to me, dude. Like, I want people to understand. This is the exact same shit fucking that Donald Trump does. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, both two egotistical, narcissistic sociopaths. Very, very cool. When Fox News attacked me on everything from my laugh to my tone of voice, to whom I dated in my 20s, or claimed I was a DEI hire, the White House rarely pushed back with my actual resume. 2 elected terms DA, top cop in the second largest Department of Justice in the United States, senator representing 1 in 8 Americans. Lorraine Voles, my chief of staff, constantly had to advocate for my role at events. She's not going to stand there like some potted plant, or like a potted plant. Damn, I don't know. I feel bad for Kamala Harris, but also at the same time, like, I mean, if you had all this knowledge and you were like, do something, say something, like, literally anything. So then, if the people know, they might be rallying to your side, right? Like, use the bully pulpit that you have. Talk about this. Like, talk about how, like, Joe Biden's, like, a complete fucking freak, egotistical moron, that he's similar to Trump in this respect. And I guarantee you, if you use rhetoric like that, you probably would have gotten a lot of people. Yeah, like, that would have ignited her campaign. That would have been a huge political boon for her. But she didn't. She didn't do that. So, like, part of it is just like, yeah, Joe Biden, I knew he was like an egotistical, narcissistic fucking freak. But, like, you had that information, Kamala. You should have just talked about that. You should have brought it up. Like, started attacking Joe Biden. That would have been effective. People would have liked that, because no one liked Joe Biden. 1000% Boy Meets Minnie. Yeah, 2024 was all about anti-incumbency. 1000%. Related to breast cancer, I was speaking formally with the scientists there about how I wish politicians would be would more closely follow the scientific method, testing a hypothesis and adjusting according to results, rather than coming in with the plan as if they had all the answers up front. Is she talking about like Build Back Better and all this shit from Joe Biden, right? I guess that can make sense, right? I said the plan with exaggerated emphasis and air quotes. Fox News, the New York Post, and Newspacks went wild, claiming I faked a French accent. What? I don't even remember any of this shit. Really? That's really, really fucking weird. I wonder how much of this is being driven by misogyny, because that, I think, is also a factor to consider as well. Let's be honest here. Like, I don't think that's like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say. And also, don't listen to all like the dumbass lefties who just be like, you're just saying that because I don't know, you hate like communism or whatever. It's like, no, a lot of the stuff that happened because of 2024, I think it's pretty fair to attribute a lot of it to misogyny. I don't think that's like ridiculous to say. A lot of the attacks that Kamala Harris had to deal with were very, very much so brought out because of misogynistic attacks from the Republican Party. That's not ridiculous to say. That's not silly to say. I don't know. Like, it's so fucking goofy, man. I said the plan with exaggerated emphasis and air quotes went wild. This was total nonsense. But the White House seemed glad to let reporting about my gaffe overwhelm the thought in foreign relations I'd achieve. Worse, I often learned that the president's staff was adding fuel to negative narratives that sprung up around me. Are you Why didn't you just say this? If you said all this and snubbed Biden, she would have benefited so much from this. I guess she was too afraid about losing that infrastructure. Nice fucking meme, dude. One narrative that took a stubborn hold was that I had a chaotic office and unusually high staff turnover during my first year. Yeah, as far as I could tell, that wasn't the fucking case. Yeah? I mean, they do the weird laugh shit because they're misogynistic. Like, that's purely what it is from, like, Fox News, Trump, and all the other conservatives. They just hate women. But the funny thing about this is, yeah, she is an auntie. Like, doesn't she have, like, a show and, like, constantly films herself cooking? I think that's, like, a very common thing that she does. She likes to cook, which is really, really fucking, I don't know, nice. Yeah, she is peak auntie. I 1000% agree with that. Like, she likes cooking for people and all this shit, posting it online, what she cooks, yada, yada, yada. Like, listen. If Kamala Harris wanted to just run, like, a YouTube cooking show, I mean, she could just do that. It would probably be successful. A lot of people are still in K-Hive and she has, like, a cult following. She'd probably be successful doing that. I mean, if she wanted to do that. Their thinking was zero-sum. If she is shining, he's dimmed. None of them grasped that if I did well, he did well. This is actually just insane. This is 1000% how conservatives fucking think. Through and through. Through and through. This is exactly like conservative thinking. Again, I've said this before, but like, Kamala Harris, you probably should have just talked about this. Yeah, like, I can't believe one of my goons is doing better than me. I have to knock him down a peg. Like, this is peak mafia shit. Where Joe Biden is the head of the family, he's the fucking boss, and there's, like, an uppity upstart who's trying to, like, crimp his fucking style. Which is insane to me. Like, Joe, I don't know how many times I have to tell you, you're not him. No one thought you were him. No one fucking liked you. Like, buddy, you just decided to sell out the country for your own fucking goddamn ego. Like, that's what fucking happened. It was all ego for him. That, given the concerns about his age, my visible success as his vice president was vital. Makes sense, because she's younger. God, it really just underpins just how much of a fucking egotistical, like, sociopath Joe Biden is, thinking that he could run for a second fucking term because he thought it was his turn. This prevailing attitude within the Democratic Party is, like, such a fucking cancerous tumor. Like, let's be honest here. The fact that it's like, well, I think it's my turn. It's my turn to be the guy in charge or whatever. It's just like, oh my fucking lord. You're gonna fucking kill all of us because of this shit, dude. It's insane. It would serve as a testament to his judgment in choosing me and reassurance that if something happened, the country was in good hands. My success was important for him. His team didn't get it. Yeah, I mean, hey, Kamala, if you said this, I think it would have been a huge political boon for you, but you didn't say it. So it's just like, it's not that this rings hollow. It just, I don't know. It seems like it's a lot more difficult for me to sympathize with Kamala Harris here in particular. Because, like, if you knew this, why didn't you say anything? You should have said something. If you said something, you probably would have benefited significantly from it politically. Because, let's be honest here, Joe Biden is a fucking racist, old, misogynistic piece of shit, and those fucking thoughts haven't changed for a very long time. So, I mean, listen, if she said something about it, or did something about it, I think she would have benefited significantly from it, but she didn't. And as a result, Trump is in office now, making everything worse. So, I don't know. Trump is the oldest guy to win the fucking president, so that's pretty cool and great. So I don't know what else to say here. Is the lesson here is that you should always shit on like all these like super corporate establishment Dems because it's broadly speaking very popular because nobody fucking likes them. I don't know what else is there to say here besides whoa, it was the most obvious of obvious calls of all time, and the expected thing that happened fucking happened. Basically, the country got sold out because of, let's be honest here, Joe Biden's fucking ego.